Today we are going to talk about Dune Imperium. Go here. All the spice belongs to me.
Welcome to another episode of Level Up with the Lees. I'm John and
I'm Levi.
And then today we're going to talk about Dune Imperium. It is a review of, is this game right for you? Should you buy it? Is it worth it?
The aim of the game is to have as many victory points as possible.
And if you get to 10 first, you win. In this game, it is a worker placement game with a bit of combat and deck building and a bit of everything. So it's got a lot in there. But does it work? Does it work well together? Does it make it more confusing or easier to play? Or more fun to play or not? This game is between 1 to 4 players. You can do solo and you can do 2 players. And how the game handles that is by a mechanic called House Hagel or Rivals. So essentially, you have a deck to make up the missing player that you have in your life, and all it works is kind of like AI. And now a good part of that is it's also integrated with an app. This meeple is called Agent, and that's essentially your worker that you can send to the board. Now every game, everyone starts with 2 of these agents. You can move them around different areas of the board to do what they need to do to claim the bonus that's available on the board. There are restrictions to this, however, and that's with the card that you've got. This is a deck building game. How does it work? Well, every player starts with a mirror match of 10 cards with exactly the same things on it. What is different are the leaders that's available to the players. When you start, you can draft them or you can pick your favorite one. For me, I like Paul Atreides because this guy looks exactly like the guy in the movie. Yeah! With the different abilities you have available to your leader, you basically build your deck based on what's available in the shop at a time, which gets refreshed every round, and you can take different kind of actions. There are many different types of resources that can get you closer to your victory. Well, how does that work? Spice is a great way to earn victory points and money, just like in the movies and the books, yes? So you can get spice. Water is also a key resource in the world of Dune because it is a desert planet. Now, besides that, we've got these cubes here that represents your army strength. So these are essentially your men. The circle here is represented by barracks. So without going to all the nitty-gritties and the rules, you can recruit men to your barracks, and via actions you can send men out to battle. At the end of each round, all the players with military outside in the middle will conduct a combat. As in the combat phase, the winner of that combat gains control of these, what I call, conflict objectives. Now, you can unlock powerful boons or resources that can help you in your quest to victory. Now, you may not always want to win because this game is not only just military might that contributes to the victory points, but also things like spice, water, and Solari, which in the world of Dune Imperium, essentially the currency. Next, let's have a look at spice. Spice is marked by these orange hexagons. They can be used to trade up directly in victory points, going up in your allegiance, which we'll talk about later, transfer them to money, or change them into military power. For example, this card, which we'll talk about later, is we can say when you decrease one of your allegiance relationships with 2 spices, you increase another allegiance for 2 points. We also have water. Here, down the bottom left, we've got an action here called Still Suits. So one can place the agent to go to Still Suits to get 1 water supply. You may also want to use your agent to take an action that requires water. So for example, in the same place with Freeman, you may take this action, use 1 water supply, and get 2 military might instead. We have Solari. Solari is basically the currency. It doesn't do everything, but there are times that Solari contributes to victory points and also allows you to buy military power. As you would spend money on military. Not so obvious, but very interesting. We've got 4 different key factions that the player or house can align themselves to. As you move through the track in your allegiance chart, so for example here, let's do Space Guild. Here, Space Guild, all players starts on natively, on nothing, no relationship with the Space Guild, but as a player take action, let's say go to fold space. In this case, they will get a fold space card, but also they would advance their allegiance track up by 1. As a player go up the allegiance track, they'll get the appropriate bonus. So for example, when a player gets into this spot within the Space Guild, they'll automatically get a victory point. First person that reaches the yellow level in the allegiance tracker, they will form an allegiance with that guild. Now in this case, the green player have formed an allegiance with Space Guild where they take this token onto their board. Now what else does that do is you also gain a one-time benefit of 3 Solari. So the first time where someone makes an alliance for the Space Guild, they will gain that Solari. And then they'll also get the victory point as well. Another thing, interesting mechanic is the intrigue card system. Now, there are actions and events that allows you to gain intrigue cards, or you can simply go to Bene Gesserit and go to Secrets. By placing your agent to the Secrets action, you'll be able to draw a secret intrigue card. Now, intrigues have all types of effects on them, and for example, this one is called Master Tactician, where as you play this card, you'll be able to gain 3 combat power or retreat up to 3 of your troops. Now, why is that important? It's a surprise for your opponent and sometimes an obvious edge to what you can do. It can often turn the tide of the battle or throw your opponent's plan into complete disarray. Okay, now it's combat time. I've got 3, you've got 2, so I win.
Hold on a sec.
What?
I destroy you.
Every turn you can only play so many cards, and each card relates an agent activity. So let's talk about the board and the symbols now. Depending on what card you draw, they'll limit your number of options you have throughout the turn. In this case, if I play Reconnaissance, that means as I move or deploy an agent, I can only put it into a blue space, where it says blue here, and these are the blue spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I play this card, I might put it into Arakin, and therefore I would muster 1 military might and get a green. At the same time, we also execute all the symbols on these icons, and the signet ring triggers the leader advantage that's unique to each of the leaders in the different houses. So for example, if we now trigger the signet ring for Duke Leto Atreides, his ability is called Prudent Diplomacy. Pay 1 spice and then gain 1 influence with a faction where an opponent has more influence than you. Very useful. So if he was green, he would be able to get 1 influence on the Space Guild Trader by paying 1 spice. And each leader also have an innate persistent ability that stays in the whole game. Once again, using the case of Duke Leto Atreides, he's got spend an agent to a green area on the board, and they will cost you 1 less Solari to activate. Very useful. If we look at his son, Paul Atreides, his persistent skill is, you may look at the top card of your deck at any time for better planning. Are all the leaders as powerful as each other? In my opinion, no, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about the cards, because this game is a deck building game. So as you start with your default set of cards, you do want to acquire more cards as you play. So how do you do that? As you go through the game, there are cards that you can play that has a number contribute to the end of it. Let's call them influence points. Some cards do not have influence points, and some cards have more influence points than others. So in this case, if we play a total of these 3 cards, 1 point, 1 point, and 2 points, at the end of the phase, we would be able to recruit one of these cards. Recruit one of the cards? Buy one of the cards? Let's go and recruit. And in this case, I've got a total value of 4, so I can get multiple cards under the value of 4, or I can get a card that is 4 or below. So in this case, I might want to get Gunthopper, because it costs exactly 4, but sometimes I might want to be tricky and go, well, I will get an Imperial Spy plus something else. Is this game worth it? In order to answer that, we'll probably need to go through a few questions first. First up, let's talk about the heroes, because for most of the game, not all heroes and houses are born equal. In my opinion at least, some are much stronger than the other ones. Depending on which leader you pick, you'll find some are easier to play much better suited to your playstyle, and some are simply just harder or more difficult to execute. I would comment that not all leaders are born equal, so stick with the one that you like, that you can enjoy the game the most, would be what I suggest for new players or players coming back to the game. In this core offering, it comes with 8 different leaders, which is a significant amount for the amount that we pay for this game. So in terms of different flavor, different strategies, just different look and feel, you get a pretty good amount for the amount that we paid. So I'll say that's a plus. Now the key component of the game is the rulebook and the help sheet. I found the help sheet and the rulebook to be highly effective in teaching new players what to do. Now in our case, we spent maybe an hour or 2 initially to learn the basics of the game, and we were able to play it straight away. So in case if you're getting into the game or there are parts that you're not sure about, you can quickly flick to one of these instead of going through a big book to find out exactly what your region or your action does. In the world of Dune, we've got a highly coloured and neatly organised book with a lot of interesting things in it. Now the back of the book has a quick reference that I think it's very efficient in teaching us what to do. This game, is what you have seen already, has a lot of icons, and here's a great quick list at what all the icons do. So even if you don't like reading, this 1-page icon guide will help you go a long way. In one game, you cannot max out your attributes. Typically, you can focus on 1 or 2 and not all of them. So what I mean is you can focus on the military power, getting these might, or a combination of military, trading spice, forming alliances, and working with the High Council to give you some buffs. Every game is different. They all work together quite well. So I would say, in my opinion, the mechanics in this game works very well. How does this game play when one of your player takes a bigger lead than the other player? Is there a chance to catch up? In my opinion, yes. In many games that I've played with Levi, there are often times where one player is leading for the most of it, and then the second player comes right through the end. Boom. Your turn.
I'm going to go here. Oh, the spice belongs to me!
There would be a case where in this game, if a player have played significantly more than a newcomer player, their knowledge of the board and the cards available would have a great advantage over the other player, therefore making it less competitive. But if you just have to have fun and not die hard about who's coming first, the balance between a new player and an experienced player can be balanced simply by going less aggressive for the experienced player. So I would argue that this game is quite well balanced. The leading player doesn't always win, and Levi have taught me that lesson more than once. So, before we give our final verdict, let's talk about what are the highlights for us in this game. Levi, what was your highlight in the world of Dune Imperium?
I love it. The cards and the board spaces are very tactical. One time when I was going to lose, I played an intrigue card, and then I won.
I remember that. Nice! Alright, for me, it is the likeliness of the characters and the movie themselves. Now, if you have watched the movie, you might recognize some of these characters. For example, Drax the Destroyer, Tim. I can't think of a snarky nickname for him. We've got... I also can't think of a fancy nickname for him. And then we have...
Also can't think of a fancy nickname for Duncan.
Oh, no! And then we have Aquaman, and then we've got Thanos. So, I really think if the people that you want to bring into the world of Dune Imperium have watched some movies and do like the movie, this likeliness would dramatically increase the chance of your success to bring them into the world of Dune and the world of board games, because you can play Thanos for 6 points, or you can get Aquaman for 4. Boom! Now it's time for the final verdict. What is the value for money? I give it 4 out of 5. What about you, man?
4 out of 5.
Next, what about the presentation of this game?
3 out of 5.
I give it 4 out of 5. I think it's pretty. Next, how about the fun for everyone rating?
5 stars.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5 on the fun for everyone, because I think you can really get anyone to this game and have a good time. Last but not least, the overall score is G for great. There's a terrible way for G, but G for great. What about you?
G for great.
Yeah. If you like this video, do check out our other videos here.
And here. And here. And here. And here. And here. And here. And here. And here. And even here. And here.
There you go. When I get Benin cassette. How do you say that? As I get Ben cassette. Levi, how do I say this?
Yeah.
How do I say this? Ben cassette.
You say it like. I think you could say it like Ben Gesserit.
Very good. So in this case, as I get Ben